Today is day 29 of learning to read Chinese, and I hope my sound quality isn't too bad because there might be something going on with my mic. But today's topic, today's unit is 休闲, leisure. And the first two words, the first two characters of our unit are 休闲. 休 means to rest, stop, or retire. And 闲 means being idle with nothing to do, unoccupied. Also refers to like if you have a rental house and no one's living in it, vacant, quiet, leisure, not to do with your proper business, your free time, where you're not working, 闲. Tui means to retreat, move back, decline, withdraw, or retire. The word we usually use for retirement is 退休. It would be, I think, like this. Retirement, like the stage of your life where you stop working your job and live off of your savings. 优 means excellent, outstanding, first-rate, superior, or preferential treatment. So it's like living the good life after you retire. 换 means to disperse, dissipate, disappear, dissolve, or overflowing. This is 换虑. Or 虑 is to consider or reflect on, think over, or worry, or anxiety. So when you say 换虑, that means all your anxieties, all your worries wash away, dissolve, and dissipate. 受 means you receive, suffer, be subjected to, or get. So it's the passive indicator. 消 means leisurely, easygoing, carefree, and unfettered. This is used in the context of the word. I believe this is 逍遥. 逍遥 means carefree, feeling like at peace with yourself. Nothing is restricting you. 拒 means to repel, resist, or refuse. 宾 is visitors or guests. It's also the object in grammar. 拒宾, you're refusing guests. Just want to be home by yourself, chilling. 疏 means to dredge or clear away. It could be neglect, distant, sparse, crude, or referring to distant relatives. 客 is guests, passengers, clients, foreign visitors. So like the customers in your restaurant or your shop, or any other sort of guest. 客. Once again, like people you don't want coming over. You just don't let them come over. 忧 is worry, mourning, or suffering. 谢 is to thank, is 谢谢. Apologize when your plants wither, decline, or excuse yourself, or take leave. Primarily though, we're using this for thank you, expressions of gratitude. 欢 means happy, pleased, glad, joy, enjoy. 欢迎 is welcome. And here We are also talking about 招, beckon, recruit, enlist, enroll, invite, incite, provoke, solicit, seduce, infect, like contagious, disease. Can also refer to a move, a maneuver, or a trick. Like in your martial arts, your special kick or whatever you would call, or an oral confession. In this context, we're talking about an invitation, right? You're happily inviting your friends. You're grateful for their comfort and their company when you're sad. So this is like the other face of the previous bit. This is for when you do want guests. 把, and you got a hand radical on the side, means to hold, guard, control. Could be give or feel. What does it feel? Could be a bundle. As a noun is a bundle, handle, or grip, or a person skillful in a trade. See, like for control and having a hold on something is kind of the idea behind it. Control. It's like 把握 is what you would say. Like if you have a good feel for a skill or something like that, you'd also use. That's how those relate. Alternate reading. 把 refers specifically to like the stem of a plant or a handle of an object. Doesn't have the other meanings. But we call handles and grips 把手 also with the 把 pronunciation, so I'm not exactly sure when you call it 把子 handle. Okay. 盏 means a small cup. It's also a classifier for lamps. So when you're counting a number of lamps, you say 一盏灯, 两盏灯, 三盏灯. Generally in characters, this little box with the two vertical lines in it refers to any sort of container. Might be something interesting here. Let's take a look. Yeah, this is... Right. So like I said, that thing in the bottom represents a container. It could be a glass or a bowl or a box. But here we're talking about, small cup, not lamps. 讲, here we got 言字旁 for speech, and 经, this is for phonetic. Explain, discuss, talk, or speak. 趣 is delight, pleasure, interest, inclination, or anything that's interesting. You would say 有趣. If you say your interests, as in like the things that you're interested in talking about or doing, you'd say 兴趣, like your hobbies and stuff. 乐趣. Yeah. So here, 把盏讲趣 is talking about sipping your wine from your little goblets and talking about your interests. Or I guess, it could be any type of drink, but it's the implication. 以 means to lean on, rely on, or depend on. And now this is interesting because it's used together with 靠, which means to lean against, in a lot of the same ways, like as hold on. So like 倚靠 and 依赖, these words, which mean like to lean upon or depend upon. Very similar to the usage of this other character, 依, which also can mean lean on, rely on, depend upon. But 依 additionally has the the particular meaning of compliance, comply with, yield to, agree, consent, obey, which yi does not have. This is just like the physical position of leaning against or depending upon in that sense. But they are pretty much used in with the same, like they're almost interchangeable in these words, like 依赖 and 依靠 you would hear, as well as 依赖依靠. But this has the additional meaning of kind of submissiveness, I guess. Very similar, subtle difference. 床. 床 is a bed or a couch. It could also be not just the bed that you sleep on, but also like a machine bed or a chassis of like a truck bed, you might say, or any other kind of framework like that is also called 床. Du. Du means to chant, read, speak, or talk. Usually we use this for reading books, whether that's just reading by yourself or reading aloud. Reading aloud you'd probably call 朗读. Chant is like 读经, like if you're reciting mantras or the like, you'd use that. Where are we? 小, you got a little sun on the side here. 小 is dawn or daybreak, it's morning. Also we use to know or to understand. We use this like 晓得. It's commonly used in certain dialects. And when you put it together, there, 晓得, 小事. In certain compound words, it means to, or 小玉, there. It's like you're giving instructions, you're explaining, you're making someone else understand. So it can also be that the sun comes out and you understand everything. So this is kind of a leaning on the bed, chilling in bed, reading type of vibe. Yo means to swim, wander about, travel, stroll, or it can also be a section of a river. You would call like 上游, 下游for sections of a river. The word for swimming is 游泳. So then you get more specific with it because it's got multiple meanings. Like if you've got two characters that each have several definitions, but one of the definitions of each overlaps, and you put them together, then that makes it a more unambiguous word. So this 游, there you go, 游泳, have a swim. Also, this is the same 游 that's in 旅游 for your recreational outings, travel. 游船, pleasure boat. 游伴, travel companion. 游荡. 游逛, you're strolling about, sightseeing. 游牧. 游牧, if you're a nomadic shepherd. 游民, vagabond, such meanings. 景, a landscape, a setting, a scene, a view. Also refers to like the circumstances of a situation, and it's also used to mean admire or respect. There we go. 景. So you could say like 景色 for the view. It's a compound word. 景况 is what you'd use for the situation, 景目, respect and admire. So those are all different meanings. Here at 游景, we're talking about the beautiful views that you see on your travels. 筏 refers to a raft made of logs. You'll see this is the bamboo head on top. 渡 means to ferry, pass through, lead, or cross, like you're crossing a river or some such. Crossing a river on a raft. 筏渡. 迹 is a footprint, mark, trace, vestige, sign, or indication. You often see like 迹象 would be a sign. 痕迹 is a word for vestige, mark, or trace. So that's like what I was saying about when you put two characters together that share one meaning but not all of them. Because 痕 is a scar or traces, and it doesn't have the meanings of sign or indication that 迹 has. So then when you put those together, it refers to the traces and marks. Whereas 迹象 doesn't have the meaning of the scars or marks. So that's for two signs. 绝 means to break off, sever, or cut off. It can refer to die, eradicate, or cause something to go extinct. Absolute, extremely, superb, excellent. So, like 绝望 would be absolute despair. 绝对 absolute. 绝情. Yeah, but you can also use this in general. Like, I think this is a colloquialism. If you say something is like, how would I explain this? It's just like the ultimate, like nothing surpasses this. Like there's, like what even is there left to say? You could say, 绝了. Like, it's just, there's nothing beyond. 决定 is actually a different one. I guess this is kind of like the 依赖 situation, where this also has the meanings of decide or certainly. But that's the one that's used in 决定. This 决 is not used in that word, although it has a similar meaning in other contexts, in that it means absolutely, and that has the connotation of certainty. 决 宣 means a clamor or a big noise. 嚣 also refers to noisy, clamor, loud, bustling with noise and excitement. So 喧嚣 together is going to be extra noisy. This is like eradicating any trace of the noisy clamor of like life in the city. When you go away on your wilderness retreat, something like that. Mall originally referred to like dense grass, vegetation growth, luxuriant and thick, magnificent, grand, outstanding, or fine. Mall. 冠 originally referring to putting on a cap or hat, crowning with, first place, champion. When you win first place, you get the first place crown. It can also mean to precede or surpass. Got an alternate reading here. Guan. Guan, which refers as a noun to the hat or the cap itself, whereas guan is putting it on. Bi. Bi means to cover, shelter, hide, conceal, or shield. It can also be to summarize, because summarize is like you cover a topic. Zhi. Zhi is a branch or limb. It's also what we use to count sticks, rods, pencils. Those long, thin, rigid objects. So here, 冒冠必之. So we're talking about the luxuriant growth of vegetation that crowns the cover of branches and leaves. Like when you're in the forest and the canopy shades you, or the way the moss crawls all over the rocks, that kind of thing. Ma, kind of similar to ma, refers to dense grass or thick weeds, luxuriant growth. This one has the additional meaning of extensive and boundless, where this is outstanding and fine. So I guess this is a maybe smaller scale on the connotation compared to this, which is like definitively large scale, but similarly dense growth. Yuan refers to a garden, a flower garden, the grounds of a property or place for public recreation, or a cemetery. Place where people gather to do stuff. Like 游乐园 would be the amusement park, 公园, public park. 出 means to go out, come forth, put forth, occur, happen, produce, go beyond, rise from. If you put this after a verb, it means it's happening with an outward motion or in a positive direction. Tiao. Tiao is a clause, condition, item, or article. So this is article like the articles in a document, but also article like an item or an object. Tiao could be a string, a strip, or a stripe. It's a classifier for a long, thin, usually soft objects, so flexible ones like ribbons, rivers, roads, trousers, bendy ones, not the straight and rigid ones, which is zhi. And you may be wondering, then what is the difference with like gun and what was that one? Shu. Anyway, there's a variety. You kind of just get the sense from using them which measure words are used for which objects, but most of them do have kind of a similar property in its physical form. 莽原出条 in a similar way, we're talking about the luxuriant verdant growth of trees and plants in a garden or on the grounds of whatever property growing out. B. B is green jade or green water, bluish green, clear blue, that clear blue-green of water. B. Ling. Ling. You see this got a little mountain on the left side, and this is Ling for the sound. A slope, mountain ridge, or mountain peak, or mountain range. Di. Di is a drip or drop. Drip, drop. Iti. Cui also refers to, like, similar to bi, a bluish green or green jade. A kingfisher is called a cui niao because they're that color, that blue and green, blue-green color. So here we're talking about that blue-green color of the mountains and hills that are covered with trees, and they're dripping with moisture from the trees. Lo. Lo means to fall, drop. If your sunset is 日落, when the tide goes out, you also call that 落. Lower, sink, decline, lag, fall behind, rest with. Also could mean to get or obtain, like gain from a settlement, or even from embezzlement, that sort of thing. Generally, we're talking about things falling down. Other readings, la. La, you call this when you're missing something, or you forgot to bring it, or you left something somewhere. Forgot to take it with you, lag behind. Or if you miss classes or miss appointments, you'd also call that la. Lo. Lo is usually used more colloquially in conversation and the like. Lo, meaning earn, fade, fault, or fall. You always say like lo dan if you're left behind, left alone by your friends. Even though that's another meaning, but when you talk, you would say it that way. Ye. Ye is a leaf. Leaves from trees. A part of a historical period is also called ye, or a generation. 唐朝末叶 would be this one. This one is used for pages in books, or like a leaf when you talk about a loose leaf paper. Use this one. This is for leaves on trees. Although in certain texts they have been interchangeable, technically that is the difference. So 落叶, falling leaves. Falling leaves. 飘. 飘 means to flutter, float in the air, or drift in the breeze. You'll notice this is wind on the right. 摇 is to swing, shake, rock. Row like a boat, or crank like a lever. 摇. So we are talking about the falling leaves floating and drifting, swinging. The branches swing in the breeze, and the leaves float through the air. 心. 心 is your heart. 心脏 is what you would call the organ, the heart. But 心, we use it for all kinds of other things, just as we do in English. The innermost being, the mind, the thought, spirit, or the center of something, like the heart of a matter, you would use. Pretty much all the same ways that we use hearts in English. And this character originally is an abstraction of a drawing of a heart. There you go. And over time, it doesn't really look like that anymore, but that is where it came from. 底. 底 is the bottom, base, foundation, or background. The ins and outs of a matter. It's also the end, like when you say 月底 would be the end of a month, 年底 would be the end of a year, or remnants. 心底, we're talking about like the foundation of a person's soul, like their innermost character. you would call 心底. It's often used in, like, if you say someone is fundamentally kind, you would say 心底善良. 空 means empty, air, sky, open, vacant, vacuous, or in vain. Anything empty, emptiness, void. 空. 空. This is in certain old texts used to mean a hole or a cave, which usually now we use this character referring to like a hole, an opening, an aperture. But sometimes when this is read that way also. 空 means to leave empty or leave blank, like in a form or a picture. 空 refers to free, spare, or leisure time as well. Like when you ask someone if they're free to hang out or free to meet, you would ask 有空吗? And if you don't have time, you say 我没空, 我很忙.透means to penetrate, pass through, thoroughly, completely, transparent, appear, or show. So this is because transparent is allowing light to pass through, and it makes these things, you can see through them, appear or show. 透. Ja means elegant and refined, right, or standard. 优雅 is a common word. That is the one. And I think we did actually have that character earlier in this unit. Yes. This 优 for excellent and outstanding and first rate, combined with this 雅 for elegant and refined. It refers to the peak of grace and composure. 座 is a seat, a bed, a stand, a base, pedestal, constellation. Astrological signs are called 星座. 座 is also a classifier, is used we use to count buildings, mountains, other similar large and immovable objects, stationary ones. 座位. You can also use that to refer to a person's position. We do use seat for that in English as well. 去 means to go to or go away. It refers to the last time that something happened. You remove, throw away, or die. It's like 去世, as you would say. It's like the kind of euphemistic way of saying pass away. 去 used with verbs to indicate the action is going to happen or going to continue. 去 is also what we call the falling tone, the in Chinese pronunciation. 燥 means dry, parched, or impatient. You got fire over here, you got wood here, you got burning. This is the objects on top of the wood stove that are burning until they are dry and parched. 挥 means to wave, brandish, flourish, or wield, like any sort of tool or weapon, or flag, or that sort of thing. 挥 also be like 指挥, where 指 is like pointing. It means to command or conduct. 挥 can also mean to scatter or disperse. 挥毫 or 毫 is a hair or drawing and writing brush. See, this is 毛 on the bottom, which is hair. 毫 can also mean at in the least or at all. Like if you say completely, absolutely, someone with completely, absolutely not holding back, you would say 毫无保留. 毫 is also a 1,000th, so 毫米 would be a millimeter. Here we're talking about the drawing, writing brushes, I think. You're flourishing a pen, I think. 主 is master, chief, owner, host, or lord. Lord in the sense of like a feudal lord, but also Lord in the sense of what Christians call Jesus God. Master of the house, the chief, the owner of the establishment or institution. 就 it's at once, right away, simply, only, just, for emphasis, as early as soon as, or already. This is once again one of those sort of like grammatical function words. 就 only makes sense in sentences and not by itself. The way 就 is used here is not really the way that you'd see it used in like prose or in speech. I think it's used this way because of the poetic format of the 中华字经. What this 会好主就 I think is probably referring to the Chinese tradition of when scholarly or learned people would get together for parties and compose poetry together. Kind of a cross between a poetry slam and a rap battle. But for scholars, something like that. Very popular leisure activity back in the day. 家 is beautiful, fine, nice, lucky. 句 refers to sentences, clauses, and phrases. So 家句 is going to be those beautiful and fine, well-constructed and meaningful phrases and sentences. Go alternate way of reading this. Mostly we don't use this. We don't read this character that way. Usually instead for go we would use this right part of this. This one's got the metal on it, so it refers specifically to a hook, like the metal part. But for these other ones, we usually use this. Go, this character. So this with the kind of a variant way of writing it, but for those meanings like attract, seduce, collude, take, such like. But here we're talking about sentences, literary composition. 抒 is express, convey, or relieve. When you say relieve, this is like when you air your grievances and you feel so relieved after venting. 抒 了 could be finish, achieve, your bright eyes, clear-sighted, understanding clearly. 了 this is the 了 used in 了解, which is to understand, or 了不起 when you say amazing, like oh we can't even understand it, it's incomprehensibly good, that sort of thing. This is also super common. The ending particle. This is what we use after verbs or adjectives. Verbs to indicate completion. It changes verbs into past tense. Can also indicate future certainty, or if something speeds up or stops, or as an interjection. So if you say like 完了, like oh it's over. So this 家具 书了, we're talking about these beautiful sentences that that so perfectly and successfully convey meaning and understanding, going together with the previous part about those like poetry parties. So that is our chapter on leisure. And until next time.